Hi, welcome back to Kitten's Crafts. I'm Kitty, and today we're just going to do something a little bit simpler, a little bit quicker. Not doing a big resin project, but I will give you a teaser for my next one. Possibly. Sometimes I have projects and I'm like, wait, I want to do something else first. So today we are going to be making the matching earring for this. I was in the mood to make the candy corn shape and the colors. I really like the candy corn colors. I don't like candy corn though. So just the colors. But I figured this was sort of a Halloween without being overly Halloween. You know, not super dark, can wear pretty much anywhere. And a little bit of sparkle there. So we're going to be doing some simple stuff today. And I've got this little mold. I will put the link in the description box. This mold is one that took me several months to find. I know Cray Art Channel uses this, and they are different sizes, so you have to measure them out when you're doing a project if you need a specific size. But this mold, I was only able to find it on AliExpress. Nowhere else. I tried. So we're going to be using this to give us that little triangle shape, and then we're going to be using the rotary tool to kind of sand down the sides to give it more of the iconic shape of the candy corn. And then I've just got some little bits here. This is my alcohol, the 91% alcohol I've got up here. And other than that, it's pretty simple. We've got just the eye pins, a little 5mm, I think these are 5mm, pearl bead, imitation pearl bead, and some bead frames. Pretty simple. We don't even need any extra jump rings for this one. And then I have these little shiny gems. Now, this is like a little cushion cut shiny gem. They're nail rhinestones, and I have to say that finding the right ones when you're looking for a very specific size, because they're tiny, and that cushion cut is hard to find. And again, I found that that one might have been Temu. Okay, we're gonna get started. So this is a mini layered project. Even though it's small and there's not a lot of resin work to it, it's a many layers kind of thing. And we're using our resin rockers, UV hard type. And I just have the orange and the yellow. And I added, not to the orange, like the orange is always, I don't know how many people have noticed this, but the orange is opaque, but sort of see-through around the edges on candy corn. Like it's almost translucent in the candy corn. So I left that one alone. It's just the orange. And then with the yellow, I added just a little bit of white. And then we've got our white. And for our white, I'm just using this pigment, the HTV. And I'll, again, put it's a tiny amount, guys. Just a little dab on your toothpick, and that's all you need. Okay, just cleaned my brush off, trying to maintain the shape of my brush, so I kind of like pull it through my glove like this, because eventually the brush bristles do break down. They get dried out from the from me using the alcohol on them, but it's the best way to keep it from getting all gummed up. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the orange, and I'm using this bottom one here, and I'm just painting that into the edges. It's not a huge amount at first, and I'm not going to just pour it in there. For the front, because we're working from the front to the back, I just want to be able to get that front to be kind of a uniform shape. And then on the back, I do actually pour the last layer with all three colors. I don't know, it just felt more right to me at that point. But I want the front to be uniform. I'll show you on the completed one kind of what I mean. So for this first couple bits, I actually use my handheld. I'm just being careful not to aim it where the other resin is. So just right there. And then I will do another quick dab. And for the orange layer, I didn't do a whole lot. And I'm probably, after I do this first layer of each color, probably speed up this part of the process. It's kind of long, and I didn't want this video to be super long. This is just kind of a quick, cute earring set. It's not one of my bigger projects. I do have some bigger projects coming up, and I will be doing a Halloween collab event. I might be doing 2. I may have signed up for 2. I gotta double check my emails, but I'm doing at least 1 coming up. So I've been working on some different projects, and yesterday was my 13-year anniversary. So I took yesterday off of doing a bunch of this. So we've got a pretty good layer of the orange right there. And the orange layer I didn't make too thick. I'll show you on the completed one here. So if you look, that's the back side. See how it kind of like melds from color to color? And then the front is really uniform. So I wanted one side to be pretty uniform and then one side to have a little bit of that bleed through. But it turned out pretty well, and we're going to be shaving down the sides, but I don't think we need a huge layer of the orange on the bottom. So, kitty hair on my paintbrush. I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer. Oops. What are you doing, Focus? Focused. I'm actually doing just a little bit more because I'm going to be throwing the yellow in here. I just realized it needed just a little further. And to have sort of a blended edge. So I'm not filling this all the way to the top, but I am kind of brushing it this way so that we don't end up with like layer lines too much. Okay. Cure that. You want to be on the lookout for bubbles. I'm not being super careful right now, but sometimes using the brush, it does put like little micro bubbles in there. Okay, now I get some of my yellow. And I'm going to actually do it a little away from the orange at first. I'm not trying to butt it right up to the orange just yet. Try to go straight across. Bumping into things with my paintbrush. And I am doing a little bit of a different setup today, trying to allow you guys to see more of what I'm doing and less of my equipment. Although I don't exactly have equipment. I'm recording this with my phone. But maybe down the road I will get something else to use. See, and I said that I wasn't butting it right up against the orange, and then it went that way. But that's okay. I will just work with that. So this one's going to have a little bit more bleed from yellow to orange than I had originally wanted. It's also a little bit different for me to do this on camera than it is for me to be doing it, you know, without the camera. I'm actually going to switch out my brush. So this one is just more of a micro detail since I'm trying to work in a small space here. So get my smaller brush, and yeah, that's going to work better. And I actually got this idea because I had these colors already mixed up, and I was doing something else with the candy corn colors. Sometimes I'm just working on fun things just for myself, coming up with ideas. Sometimes I have little pots of color just sitting here and I'm like, wait a minute, how about I do something with this? And that's kind of how this came about. Now we'll move on to the initial layer of the white. And then I'm going to finish off the other layers on my own without the camera. But just, you know, it's kind of one of those take your time, even though it's a small thing. It's doing it as a micro thing sometimes does require a little bit of extra patience. And I can already see here that I don't really want that much white. So I may try to pull these colors up. Make the yellow a little bit thicker there. Pull the orange up over the yellow. I mean, when you do something like this, you know, you change it as you go sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna pull that yellow up a little bit higher. Just move it across. Can't really see what I'm doing there. I'm trying to get it to go up on the sides. It's hard to see it. But I just want it to pull up on the sides a little bit to reduce those lines that we get when we do many layers. Of course, this part is easier if I'm using a different resin. And as you guys get to know me, you'll notice I put my paintbrush in my mouth a lot. So if I'm ever talking and it sounds like I have something in my mouth, I do. It's my paintbrush. Okay, so we are all cured here. I cured it on both sides at 18 watts. So we've got our little triangle. Not quite looking like a candy corn yet. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. So, and you see that I really like the transition of the orange to the yellow on that side. Let's see. It's okay on that side. But candy corn is like that too. If you look at it, the layers kind of meld together a little funny. So what I'm going to be doing is taking my rotary tool and just eating away at the edges here. So I'm just gonna kind of bring it down to the more candy corn type shape. So that I'm not going to do on camera. It's loud and takes a while. So I will be right back. Okay, so now I've got more of the shape going on here. And now I'm going to add a layer of clear to it to make it a little bit thicker. And I'm going to drill, oops, and my gloves are all dusty. I'm going to drill down the center of this guy. So I want to change my gloves. What I do is take my little nail art stand here, this little guy with some putty on there. So what I'm going to do, kind of squeeze that as narrow as I can, and I'm going to try and stick that guy like that. So we just put him on there like that. And then we're going to take our clear here. And this is, again, skim coat. And we will paint him. Since I'm going to be down here, I'm actually going to zoom in to what I'm doing. I just want to get a nice layer going here and also kind of puff out the side a little bit. I like using the skim coat for this because it's a little thicker. It's easier to get it kind of stays where I put it easier. I don't want too thin of a resin. And we're just going to do the upper half. And then I will turn it over and do the lower half. And I am trying to be as gentle as possible with my paintbrush. For a couple of, there's a little, oh, for that very reason. So I gotta stick that on there a little bit better. And start again. Now I have resin on my glove, so. Oopsie. Okay, I'll try that again. Trying to be gentle. Don't want to push on it too much. Try to kind of set the resin on there instead of really pushing it onto there. And right now you'll see like there's ridges in it, but that'll kind of settle. Plus this gives us a nice surface, and I want that tip to have a little bit of bulge to it, because when I go to drill it, I don't want this too pointy. I'm just kind of pulling the resin along here. Oh, my neighbor's out with his truck. We get a lot of noise from the neighbors here. A lot of revving. There we go. And then we'll cure this. Now, earlier I did it at 18 watts, but for the skim coat, we want to do it at the full power, 48 watts, just to make sure it really cures, because it is the thicker resin. And I want this nice and puffy. And sometimes I'll hold it a certain way, or I'll turn it upside down and let it sit and kind of settle, and then put it in. So we'll cure that for about 60 seconds because it's not much. Okay, so now we have it clear coated, and we have our little hole there. And now we're just going to put this together. So first I'm going to take one of my eye pins, and I noticed this one's bent. Let me grab my, so I grab my pliers here and just kind of straighten it out a little bit. I mean, I'm not too worried about it being super straight. This is handmade after all. So make sure that my hole is big enough. Yep. And my hole's not going to be 100% straight either. I do my best to have it in the middle and straight, but things wiggle. Stuff happens. And again, handmade. If we're making it at home, we can't expect everything to be perfectly done. Okay, so I'm going to get my eye pin through the base of my frame that I picked out here. I've got a few of these. There's a little box set that I got on Amazon a while back. I will post that link. So then we go through our piece that we made and through the top there. Now I want the bottom, since this is an eye pin, I'm going to be putting a gem down here. I do actually have flathead pins, but the ones that I ordered are way too short for doing this. So we're just going to work with what we have. And my eye pin is where it's at. So I'm going to take these pliers. I'm going to try and keep this as straight as possible. Some people are able to do where they hold it with one and turn it with the other. I'm not as good at that. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to turn it away from me while trying to hold onto this bottom. Hold it as straight as possible at the bottom and make our little eye at the top. It's going to be a little bit tight with this particular frame, so it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I'm going to bend back and then bend that forward. And I'm just going to kind of tighten that down so I know it's not going to come loose. And there we have that piece. So one way, one the other way. I'm just going to make sure that they're actually straight. So I want them perpendicular to each other. Okay. And now, and I could put the gem on now, but it actually because I'm going to be messing with doing all these together, I might pull that off, so I'm going to show that at the end. Next up, we have another eye pin, another bead frame, and our little orange bead here. And this one I'm going to have to nip at the top. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have it hook sideways. And see, like on this one, so these are perpendicular to each other, but these are actually the same. So I'm going to bend that, grab onto there. Get my little handy dandy cutters here. Cut that off. And I can always bend it that way to make sure it's actually the same direction. This is harder with gloves on. I may take them off. Since I'm not working with the uncured resin now. Okay. I try to bend it back like a normal loop would be, but oh, sorry. And I'm just tightening the end of the pin to the post of it. Okay, so down here I'm going to bend this guy open like that and hook it into our top loop of our lower section. And I'm using those. Bend that back. And I'm going to tighten that one just a bit. So then we have that hooked together. And again, I'm going to make sure that's nice and tight to the post part of it. Okay, so now we're hanging like that. And now we bend this guy to the side. And we're going to actually hang them on that way. You can hang them on whichever way you think the front is. So now we have like that. I am going to have to do a dollop of resin. Okay, so do as I say, not as I do. I'm just barely, but I'm not going to touch the resin with my hands. Let's see. I'm going to get out my guy here. And I'm going to put this up like this so that I can have this guy flat. See that? He's as flat as I can make him. With the other one, I actually did the gem first, but then I ended up having to re-glue it. So we're going to use the skim coat again because I can pull it across that, and I'm not going to touch it now that I have no gloves on. We're just going to use a stick, put it on there. Please wear gloves. I took off my gloves too soon because I was messing with the wires. Do not touch the uncured resin with your hands. And I have just a little square cushion cut gem here. And then I'm going to use my little handheld. I know guys, I have to wear gloves. Please don't come after me. I will be very, very careful. So please remember that part. Don't take off your gloves until you've got that little gem glued on there. But now we should be good. Yep. I'm going to flip it over. I want to make sure that we have a good solid base of the, so I'm actually going to use my little paintbrush this time. Oh, not with a hair on it, come on. Okay. Just to make sure that there's a good solid base on there. And I recommend going around the edges of where the stone connects to the ring, just to give yourself a little bit of extra strength around the gem. And then we're going to cure that again real quick. So again, not as much of the resin work this time, but we still end up with a pretty result. Did that end up backwards? Nope, we're good. I just need to hold it right. So we've got a nice sparkly there. And now we have a nice set. And I thought they were pretty. When I came up with this idea, I liked it because it's like a classic earring, but with some Halloween flair. So there we go. That's my earrings for this week. I hope you liked the video. I will be back with some more. Oh, here's my teaser. I said I would do it. I'll show it to you, but whether or not we'll get to it in my next video. So this is, I kind of just use these as like almost charms or like decorations, but it can be a pendant if you want it to be. But like sometimes I just like to hang little dioramas. But this is one that I came up with this week and I thought it was cool. I do the resin in so many layers, but I also build the little headstones separately and then put them into the piece. And then I give it a really nice background and a little bit of fog around there. So I may be doing a video on this one next. I just wanted to get these up, but this is kind of a cool little charm. You can hang it from your rear view mirror. You can make it into a keychain. I like to put little things up on my shelf, and sometimes my little decorations are handmade. So there we go. So if we get to that one, that'll be cool, but let me know in the comments if you want to see a video of me doing one of those. I might do a circle one next time, but let me know. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time. Bye.